guys. As you can tell, I'm still wearing the same sweater I was wearing yesterday and the day before. This is kind of my comfy sweater, and I just kind of keep throwing it on because I haven't been out of the house to do much. I've been in writing, researching, and just gearing up for the full moon. The full moon means for us witches that times are really busy. And also with the stock market and politics and crisis, this is what it looks like. So, hello, Lizzie. Hello, and welcome, you guys. If you are joining me, feel free to share, say hi in the chat room. I wanted to just pop in here really quickly. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things today, but I'm obviously going to do my hair and makeup and get dressed before I do anything too professional. But for those of you who have been interested in telling me how useful those astrological check-ins are, this is what I wanted to share for my Patreon, which it's coming up to the end of the month. So you have to kind of sign up before the first to get in on it. I'm learning this the hard way because anybody that signed up last month, usually I get paid before I do work. That's how I do, because a lot of people stand me up. So what I've learned about Patreon is the same thing. A lot of people will join on the first, they'll get through the whole month, and then right before it charges, they cancel. And so last month was my first month with Patreon. I didn't necessarily have that problem, but a bunch of people that would usually, be paying me, and then we have services, didn't. So I didn't have that. And then Patreon isn't going to charge them because it didn't start at the right time. And then, so it's just kind of a whole month of like doing all of the content and going, oh, I didn't actually make a single cent at all. Shit. Okay, should I still do this? But then finding that like I've been watching your Patreon, I like it, and this has been helping. So I want to keep up with the content and just kind of keep pushing, and I'm going to give myself a 3 months, 90-day probationary period, whether or not I decide to just continue to do all of my daily stuff from my paranormalsarah.com, which I still do, but then also on my social media and my Patreon, which on the Patreon, it allows to kind of fund projects that I'm working on. So like my book, my worksheet for shadow work, I'm working on my third publication. I'm working on my dissertation's already done, but some of my additional research in my doctorate program is kind of fun to be able to follow along. It's not always paid, but to be a part of the merchandising, be a part of, I'm launching a cigar in this year. And so to be able to be a part of that and get the giveaways and get some additional stuff, it's kind of fun to be a part of. So if you'd like to join me in that endeavor, be sure and check that out. If not, you're just interested in psychic readings, you're interested in learning about the occult, you're interested in spirituality and paranormal and forensic psychology, then just continue doing what you're doing. Sign up for notifications and all that jazz. You might be seeing some more of me on political sites. You might be seeing some more of me on television, depending on the luck of the draw, because that's just really how it goes. But the astrology. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodoo. Today's Friday. I don't know if you knew that. We made it. It's Friday, Freja Day, Freak Day, the day of abundance, the day of prosperity, the day of making shit happen, making stuff go down. But it's also the 29th. And two things are happening today in astrology that I want you to keep in mind. Now, again, those in my Gypsy tribe, we are doing serious magic with some of this particular frequency and energy out there. But if you're a paranormal investigator, if you're a manager, if you're somebody that's working with people, if you aren't just shut in from the COVID, then this is something you want to be aware of. One, we're coming out of this full moon in Leo. Hi, Denise. Hi, Robin. So you're going to kind of be feeling this shadow sense as we move into a Mercury retrograde. So our communication is going to start to falter. Our electronics are going to start to fizzle out. You're going to start feeling things plucking at your temper tantrum spots, your triggers. Be aware of what those are. Go ahead and wrap them in a nice, safe blanket, like a burrito. The first thing that's going to happen today is the sun is conjunct Jupiter. So this is kind of when we're thinking of music. This is, playing something together and needing it to work in harmony. Hi, Mary. Hi, Lisa. Mary said, my Weather Channel app explained yesterday why it's called the wolf moon. This is interesting, Mary. I just want to interject real quick with that. Some people call it the wolf moon because it is the most barren winter space, the first full moon of the year, where all of the animals are out. The ones that are to their death are dying. The ones that have died are dead. And all of the predators come out, and there's a lot of howling and shifting at this moon because the predators are out hunting. It's the kind of the nice big bright moon to do that, and easy pickings for the people lingering off into the new year. And so there's a lot of noise. But this wolf moon also for Leo, knowing that it's in the sign of Leo, this is a powerful space for feline predatorial energy as well. So pride, ego, luck, and the sun conjunct Jupiter. Let me go there. The sun, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Like the sun. The sun's coming out. You are my sunshine. The motivation, the center of our galaxy, the everything that's bringing things to light, your ego. The sun is going to kind of give you this larger than life space. It's going to be giving you this, ego. When I say us, me and you and everybody else. So we need to be able to work together, right? If we're in choir and everybody's singing on high volume, if we're going to the track meet and everybody wants to be the lead person, we're all feeling optimistic. Everyone's feeling outgoing, generous, lucky. Hey, feeling like their confidence in what they believe in is it. The heavy on the fire, heavy on the yang. And heavy on that yang, it's because we have Aquarius and Leo. So everything's teetering on the yang side. Got to be very careful. This means that things are going to be spontaneous. They're going to be impulsive. People could get hurt. Yang energy is where people can burn themselves. You need moderation of thought, moderation of feeling. You need to cry. You need to sit still. You need to have patience. You need to sit. The app said the Native Americans noticed wolves are more active right now. It is, and all the predators are, not just the wolves. Bears, lions, tigers, oh my. And people, bad people. Watch the motion right now. You will see predators and dummy-dum-dums, desperation, pride. I don't need that. I can do it. The pride and ego. Some people are going to tip to the point of me. And then we put that with Jupiter. Jupiter is my Chris Farley of the galaxy. I do astrology based on personification, as many cultures do with the gods and deities. I would say in our modern pop culture, this is like a Chris Farley space, like him running down, barreling down a group of people half naked with a bow tie on. Jupiter wants what it wants, and whether that's cocaine or to entertain. It is exciting. It is abundant. It is ever growing and expanding, and kind of a big bellied, lucky, happy, like Ren and Stimpy. And so when you couple that with the sun and this Jupiter post full moon in Leo on a Friday, right before Mercury retrograde, oh God, this is pride and luck. Be aware. This is people wanting what they need and what they want. This is egos extremely afoot with stress and drama. This is a tornado of air energy that's very chaotic, that you can't really communicate well with, that you've got to kind of tiptoe around. And if you're not drawing your own boundaries and doing your own self-care and detoxing, you're going to be breaking out. You're going to be feeling sick. You're going to be supposed to be on your period, but you're not. You're going to be wanting to eat this, but you can't. You're going to be just feeling like that burnout. Overexposure, and that will leave you exposed and vulnerable to your triggers or your tempers or things getting hurt. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Draw boundaries, do the self-care, and in that shadow work, you guys know from my Gypsy tribe kind of how to manipulate that energy, how to work that by way of alchemy. So that's something that we have to be doing. I'm going to do a ritual later today for binding, banishing, and a curse, actually. And I'm going to be sharing it on my social media and throughout the specifics on my Gypsy tribe. If you're interested in what goes into a banish versus a binding, and then also the kind of kiss or a curse on top of it as you send it out into the invocation space, if you want to talk about the science of that, it's really, really fun and cool. And we're going to be doing some of that today with some ice and some snow and some Friday abundance magic. But the second thing that's happening today in astrology that I want to give you guys a heads up for is another little thing that I, as a social worker, look at it and go, oh no. That Mars, anytime Mars is moving, Mars is your Mel Gibson on a hill with a kilt, screaming about something with face paint. Mars is wanting to argue. It's wanting to fight. It's passion. It's it's Xena, getting ready to throw her thing. Mars, and it's conjunct, just like the sun's conjunct Jupiter, with Lilith. Okay, and Jupiter's in Aquarius. Mars, I can't remember, I believe is in Aries. But this Lilith space, just to know this is insatiable. Lilith is our weakness, our Achilles heel. This is that dark deviant, what you're willing to, bucket. That moment, This moment, wait a minute. And Mars, it's an insatiable desire and need for freedom, a passion fueled with intense energy that is quick to react with anger, mania, especially when confined, oppressed, or backed into a corner. That you will actually feel like you need freedom, that you need to be recognized. Ego that's off the charts will feel as though they are God, they are prophetic, they have a unique gift, they have a specialty talent, they have a niche that nobody else would just ever understand. And people might even be getting these like, oh my God, this is it. Getting these strokes of genius. Some of them are really great, but do you need to do that? The shadow work, and I'll share this because it's kind of interesting. What do you need to escape from? Ooh, wait, I thought that I was just going to be the next best sculptor of tiny little pots. Oh, really? Or are you just trying to do something else so that you can love something or so that you can keep yourself busy or distracted? And you go, no, it's because I want to recycle negative energy. I want to do that. Okay. Mars is a fire sign. It's making you want to do something. Conjunct with Lilith makes you want to break rules and be deviant and do something different and speak out and yeah. And the sun is like, it's like turn up the music. And yes, it's like a Cyndi Lauper song. I mean, who knows what she's talking about with the bop, but it's actually masturbation because she don't give a fuck. And that's Jupiter saying, what? Masturbation and cocaine? Yes. Not that I would recommend one or the other, but it's just like Jupiter is going to say yes to anything. So you got the sun and Jupiter and Mars and Lilith going out to a party together. Be very, very careful. They're going to be Thelma and Louise going off a darn cliff because who knows what they're doing. It's not that it won't be a good time. It's not that it won't be fun. But it's all happening on a Friday. That's no good. That's no good at all. So it just kind of is like, this is a real space. We need to be going to earth and water. Moderation. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be silent. It's okay to sit still. It's okay to recoup. It's okay to make to-do lists and not do anything on it. It's okay to say, I'll do it on Monday. It's okay to write it out. It's okay to cry it out. It's okay to take a nice hot long shower and think about how much money is going down the drain and how some people can't even ever even have a hot shower. And oh my God, you're so privileged, but do it for another 10 minutes just because. Be humble. Use the pride and ego in those spaces to love yourself a little bit longer in times that you can cry, strengthen those triggers. There is going to be inflammation all around us, especially if we are intuitive and empathetic and we have just been beaten to a pulp in 2020. We're going to be inflamed physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, swollen, retention. I want you to think about what happens when you put a big old pot of something on a big fat flame. If you do it messily or sloppily and are not paying attention, you're going to fuck around and burn the whole thing down. And we're going to ruin dinner. Don't do it. What do you need? Go take a rest. What do you need? Some soup? Don't put all of it on. Don't invite everybody over. Put some away. Be smart. Put some away for later. Give it to that who comes home later to join you in the quiet times. Let it last. Delegate. Give it away if you must. But don't extend yourself in an over fire space. Don't extend yourself in a yang space. This is one when I think of, it's kind of funny. When I went into forensic psychology, this confuses people sometimes because I don't do treatment. I know it's going to sound horrible, but I truly went into forensic psychology because I was a victim, because police had stood me up, because I had been raped and abused and molested and assaulted, and I wanted to know how to fix the problem. And I felt like if I could fix the system, I could fix a little bit of me. And I overextended myself. And I didn't ever want to mix my magic with social work and vice versa. But now, I don't do treatment. I do assessment. I can walk into a space and my psychic intuition and empathy allows me to go, oh, look, you've been raped and I know it. I can see it. I can smell it because I know what it's like. I've been there. And you don't have to give me evidence. Now, I could help people find the evidence and we could help the process go the way we want. But the assessment of what's happening, what I realize also is the assessment of what's happening in me. And so I use astrology for assessment. Today, if I have a temper tantrum or break down, or my children freak out and cry over nothing, or something gets spilled, dropped, broken, my car doesn't start, things fizzle out, have a boundary set up immediately, right now. Let's put it up right now. I'm doing it for you. Let me help you. That shit ain't your fault. That shit ain't your fault. Have a coffee, have a chocolate. It ain't your fault. It's not your fault. Now, it'll be your fault if you didn't see it coming and then you cry about it and then you react and then you let that fire burn everything else down because you're too exhausted to even be able to stop it at that point. Then it will be your fault. But right now, we're going to see it coming. Every reading I get, every question I have today, every case, every call, every crisis, every anything, I'm going to be extra calm. I'm going to have an extra chocolate in my pocket for the person who's going to need one. Because I foresee Mars. I foresee people yelling. I foresee people's volume being up louder. So if you have misophonia, you don't like hearing people talk, wear your headphones. Here in Minnesota, it's nice because we just patting ourselves around. And that's what you need to do. Wrap yourself in a big blanket. People are going to be overly optimistic too. Oh my gosh, don't worry about it, girl. I got you. I'll cover that. I got it. I got the money. I got it. Everything's going to be fine. Too much of that starts to feel like someone's blowing smoke up your ass. Too much of that will create skepticism. Too much smoke puts extra drama in the air. We already have a tornado of air energy. We don't need that. We need truth. We need earth. We need good intentions. We need silence. We need things written down. We need things clear. We need things practical. Period. If it's emotional and it's dramatic and it's crazy and it doesn't serve you, tell it to wait until later. This is not the best time. Let that be your rebuttal. Now is not really the best time. Mary asks a really good question. How do I know if I'm an empath or I'm just over emotional? Those are one and the same. How do I know that I'm human and that I'm not just an organism living on Earth? Mary, being an empath is empathy is just connecting through emotion, connecting through intuition, connecting through water energy. When you're an empath, you know how to or are aware of how to use and manipulate water energy. Being over emotional tells me that you have an overabundance of water energy and aren't quite sure the who, what, when, where, and why of maybe where it came from or how to get rid of it, what to do with it, how to use it. And that means absolutely you're an empath and absolutely you will be over emotional. Neither one of those are right or wrong. That is a mathematical equation of energy. You have it. It's around you. What will you do with it? Too much water energy can cause major depression. It can cause ulcers, gastrointestinal orders, irritable bowel syndrome. It can cause endometriosis issues with, major health concerns. So being over emotional, let it out. It's okay to let it out. If someone goes, oh my God, you're crazy. No, you can't hold that stuff in. You have to be aware of it. Why are you over emotional? Do you not know? That's Earth. We need to figure out why. A really great thing that I do in alchemy, if you want to move your energy from one space to the other on the alchemy wheel, if you want to get out of water, if you want to stop feeling, again, I work in sometimes many cases stuff that's extremely, extremely high volatile emotional content, right? Really graphic content. So you can't feel. You have to close off and go, I'm not going to feel. Shut down. And what we do is why. Ask yourself why. It'll tip you back into Earth. Why? Be practical. Why? It's, because I'm getting ready to go into an interview and I can't take this sadness home with me to my children. It's important that I not cry. I need to be efficient at my job. For all the victims involved, me, myself, and every victim of the past, present, and future, I right now need to confine my emotion. It will not help me. It will actually hinder me. Get yourself under control. Zip that shit up. Got it? Get it? Good. It's usually what I tell myself before I go into an assessment or an interview or something where I know that some of my questions are going to be, why did you molest this child? Or why did you neglect this person? Or why did you do that? I can't be sad about it, even though it's terribly sad stuff. Sometimes in our life, we have to do that too. It doesn't make you a narcissist or a psychopath or cold. In some ways, it makes you efficient. You just have to know how to do it well. And being able to ask yourself why, that's being practical. It's being rational. It's allowing yourself to go, oh, okay. Renee says, I'm an earth symbol, which is weird because I've always connected with water so much more. So Renee, when you're an earth sign, you're going to have so many other different filters and frequencies. You're going to have so many other different reasons why you're doing something. Like right now is a really heavy fire space. So natural fire signs, they might be loving it, but then that's fire on fire. So I can already say that in hindsight, there's going to be some issues that go down. If you're an earth sign and fire, you might be doing okay right now, better or compared to most, because it's a really good time to be practical. You might be feeling a lot of the Capricorn, wanting to make long-term investments, and water is the natural next space to go when you're thinking about something. Then you go, do I feel good about that? Yeah, I do. Okay. You think and feel. You earth, water, earth, water, earth, water, earth, water, earth, water, until it has accumulated enough confidence that you decide to share it in air. So the natural way of yin, signs, earth, and water is to work cohesively together. So kind of makes some sense. Jason, hello. Welcome. Peggy, welcome. Vanessa, there are two women in my state that think they are witches. I'm picking up that they opened I something evil and there is going to be a fire in the back of their house. You know, a lot of people think they're witches. I think I'm a witch. Am I? That depends on your definition. Do I practice witchcraft? That again depends on your definition. I do magic every day. I work rituals every day. Today I'm doing a binding, a banishing, a curse. I'm going to do some grounding. I'm going to do some centering. I'm going to clean my crystals. I'm going to clean my altar. I'm going to go get a candle. I'm going to light it. And I think I'm actually going to be able to change the world today. And some people would say that makes me crazy. Some people would say that makes me a witch. Other people would say it makes me normal or productive. Kind of depends on your perspective. What I love though is that whatever, you know, people do, whatever they're going to do, we get to decide whether or not we want to join it. If we're aware enough and have control over ourselves, which I'd like to think most good witches do. I can't not feel right now. I have two nonverbal autistic grandsons who live with me, and I feel that I need to be open with them. So Mary, um, although it can be very frustrating, but I know this. So I like the language that you know that you need to do this, you know that you need to be open. One of the things I love about autistic children, so, and again, I'm going to kind of share this. This might be a controversial space, but I'll tell you where I come from. So as I'm working on my doctorate, it's predominantly forensic neuropsychology. So neuropsychology, my dissertation is the assessment and treatment of psychopathy in America, as which treated so by addiction. So going into like the GABA, going into certain parts of amino acids and neurosynaptic gaps and like neurotransmitters and parts of the brain that we're using prefrontal cortex versus non, parts of addiction processes, cognitive processes, and like assessing that under an MRI or CAT scan versus just looking at behaviors or doing a PCLR. Right now, psychology, if you've ever been into the field or maybe you've been a patient, a lot of it is talking. A lot of it is fill out this questionnaire or this form. That doesn't really help us much. So, there's my best friend. Hold on, let me tell her real quick. Best friend, best friend, let me call you right back. Let me finish up what I'm doing and I'll be right down because I miss you. So I'll see you in 1 second, okay? She's so cute. She's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to see her in a second. We have a coffee date every day to talk about the day, and that's how we keep in contact because we're in different cities now. Isn't that great? Anyway, autistic children in that space, gosh, heavy things in our environment. Air, food, water, heavy things building up in their bodies, the developmental brain barrier, and how they are actually able to process certain pieces of information. If you look at the periodic table and you look at alchemy, there's some really cool things that play into what we know. Watching an autistic child in nature, a friend of mine, I always think of her because she's bilingual and she speaks Norwegian. And I had never met anyone that had spoken that before. And when I moved to Minneapolis, she did. and she speaks sign language as well. So I remember and was just like, hello, can you help me? And she's like, oh my gosh, ASL. And I was like, I do. And so we started talking with each other, and she specializes in taking autistic children out into nature for nature therapy. And the level of significant interaction through water. And we usually think they're overstimulated, and the lack of social contact is because of like a broken synaptic process, when really as many, no, it's overstimulated, it's overstimulus. So to be able to turn things down, but electrically speaking and like mineral compounds, like chemically speaking, to ground, to do alkaline grounding with diet, to do grounding with speech and language, to do practical skills with hand-eye coordination as you're learning developmental skills. And then the social stuff comes as you get into a different space physically. And I've learned a lot from some of my autistic patients, whether it's like on a severe Asperger's or like completely non-verbal, non-compliant. It's really interesting what we can learn from each other in our own mental spaces. One of the reasons I enjoy alchemy is because I feel it allows me to talk to a great demographic and just a really diverse population, whether it's a man or a woman or a Catholic or a Satanist or it doesn't matter. We can talk polarity. We can talk periodic table. We can talk about nature. We can connect in these ways. Then we can start to manipulate the energy to work for us. Oh no, I have the hiccups. Anyway, so it's just it's cool. It's fun. And I really enjoy how astrology helps me in that way, because I'm a mom of two boys, and my oldest has tinnitus. For a long time, people thought that he was a nonverbal autistic child. Now, mind you, he's in third grade and he can play and out chess a grown man, my husband included, who is genius smart. My third grader can talk binary. He can code a computer. He is far beyond me in math. A lot of the people in my family are like math engineers. They love stats and calculus, and that just, I don't get it. But he's kind of nonverbal and he has severe tinnitus. So he can't be somewhere where there's fluorescent lights or buzzing of air coming through a vent or computers or a hum. It will distract him to the point that he will have a tantrum. And I know that for a long time, people tried to give me medications. Luckily, I was a parent that knew better and was like, there's nothing wrong with my child. I need to know why he's reacting this way, because there's something happening. There's a stimulus of some kind. And until I know what that is, I'm not just going to assume that it's an innate broken thing coming from the inside of a God-given child. These are gifts, and there's a reason that things work or don't work in a certain way. And humans, we work in a variety of ways. And we are survivors by nature. So if something's not working in their best interest, something else is wrong. And I learned what some of those things were, and they were a lot of heavy metals in our water, to the point that Aaron Brockovich should have been called. Also learning about some major 5G, that you had to wear a hazmat suit to even go up and be working on it. But yet my child was 200 yards away, and exposure is not just linear. So looking at just different things that can drastically affect the health of a person, not just a child, all of us. Astrology is one of those things. We don't even think about it, but we look up at the sky. We don't even think that Mercury out there is pulsating a certain vibration, and that we would not notice it, not hear it, not think about it. And yet I go to paranormal investigations where people will pay hundreds of dollars for a blinky doodad that tells them there's a ghost nearby. And I think about the scripture in Luke that says, if you can look at the weather to the east and to the west and not know the meaning of this present time, then you're a fucking idiot. That's not what the Bible says, but it's similar. And that scripture is meaningful. It comes from my grandfather. He used to repeat that to me whenever I was obsessed with divination and prophecy, that you must be able to know just how it affects you now. And I love it. So astrology helps me do that. And when I have anxiety or depression or struggles, or I'm talking with someone who does, it doesn't have to be your fault. It doesn't have to be you're broken. It doesn't have to be an inability. It maybe is something that you just don't see because it's infrared, or something that you just don't hear because it's not in this range of hertz. which is actually very small. So that's why I'm just always intrigued at helping people see and hear more extrasensory perception. And this is the astrology for today. And again, there's so much more going on, so much in the stocks, so much in politics, so much in the ether, so much in the underground, so much in music, and also in your life and in my life. What's going on in your life? What's going on in the lives of those around you? Steve says, good morning. How are you and how is your dad? You know, my dad's still struggling. So thank you for checking in. It is still a struggle. He's, trying to do dialysis. For those of you out there, if you are interested, I'm going down the rabbit hole and wormhole of my dad's an old, good old boy. It's very unlikely he is going to drink a tea, take a tincture, or do anything to change his daily regime. But if I could sneak something into his diet, if I could get him a tincture, if I could, what is it that I could do that would be the magical holistic cure for good pasture syndrome, for an autoimmune disorder that is absolutely eating its own kidneys? What natural remedies, what fever flu, yard yarrow, you name it. I have gotten out the books. I've gotten out the Necromonicon. I have tried to figure it out, but I can't do it alone. I won't do it alone. And so I am, for those of you asking how my dad is doing, if you know of any magic, kidney magic, kidney magic, it's not my strong point. And I would love advice on that. So if there's any renal witches out there, let me know your tricks of the trade, and I will barter with you any gypsy thing I can. And I will be forever in your debt, because the health of my dad hinges greatly on the right to try, continuing to stay active so that we can try an alternative method of treatment this March. Otherwise, we are simply waiting for dialysis to get better and show some signs of working, because as of right now, it's not doing much. And he's really frustrated with the process that it is. So, thank you for asking. But yeah, so you guys, that's the astrology for the day. I'm going to go get my coffee and chat with my friends and then get myself in order. And then if you are joining me on Instagram or on Facebook, that's where I'm going to be doing my banishing, binding, curse, and talking about some of that stuff today and this weekend and the continued magic. And I'll be doing some readings and card pulls later this afternoon. But let's go ahead and pull one for the day. Let me pull one, right? For the day. For the day. I have pulled the. Oh, okay. The Four of Cups for all of us. The Four of Cups. Making a decision, knowing that things are slightly unstable and uncertain, knowing that we have quite a lot to be grateful for, but in some ways there's just some shit we are ready to throw over because we are feeling placated, we are feeling exhausted, and we feel like there is a desperate need for change. And isn't that the truth? But who and what and when and where and why and with what money? So instead, we'll just kick stuff around. Be careful not to let that temper tantrum go down today, as Mars is working its magic, and know that it might happen around you. And if it does, just watch with popcorn. Don't let it affect you or influence you negatively. Don't need that. Not on a Friday. So I hope that this wisdom finds you well. We are in this together, guys. Be sure and join me online for any of that additional magic, and then I will catch you later this weekend. Bye-bye.